Hey, hey. I don't see myself in the top one. That's fine. Okay. Hey, live. Hey, it's Elliott Wilson from Rap Radar. It's the Truth Live. We did it again, man. Look at this. Look at this backdrop, man. I came in and made me feel special, man. It made me feel like Cassius Clay today, man. I went to Best Buy because you get nothing free when you're friends with Jay-Z, and I bought the Jay-Z album. Okay. The second time.
I caught that.
I just ripped the packaging off my CD, as you can see. Because today I have an esteemed new panel. We're going to talk about Magna, Carta.Holy, Grail. We're going to be honest on his channel. You can say what you don't like. You can say what you do like. Let me get the lyric sheet because we're gonna give overall feelings, and then we're also gonna go track by track too. Everybody's down for that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me introduce my esteemed colleagues. I had a little pre-talk with my man right here, Ian Drew, man. He's from Us Weekly. What's up, Ian?
Not much. What's up?
I was making fun of he has a big Taylor Swift, as you can see, Taylor Swift portrait behind him. It's very scary. I said,
it's a perfect day.
Jesus.
It's a perfect day. I think Jay would appreciate it. he could scare her off the wall.
I'm saying.
Make her uncomfortable.
I see why, Us Weekly's doing so well, man. When you have true inspiration like that behind you.
Yeah. Well, Taylor gives us plenty of inspiration.
God bless Taylor.
Every week.
Okay, the brother next to you, who's that? We got a red, white, and blue shirt on? What's that? I can't see. Oh, Biggie. Oh, excuse me. BK. So we have Taylor Swift in the back. We got Biggie on the chest. What's your name, brother?
Yeah. This is Hip Hop Obama.
Hip Hop Obama. What's up? You back, baby? The fight is fixed.
Yeah.
What happened?
I put in my up, down, left, right cheat code. Start off with 30 million.
I don't even got you on the list, man. What's going on? You tricked me.
I snuck in the back door.
Wonder Girl said I can't do it. Hip Hop Obama's up in here.
Oh, man.
What's going on, bro? How you?
Yo, did I knock somebody out? Oh no, let's come back in. I'm good, man. I'm glad you joined us, man. We're gonna talk that Magna Carta Holy Grail. And I see my homegirl Tracy's here, right?
Yay! Yes, I am the Soul Ranger of
Tracy,
Team Estrogen
where are you
right now.
You seem like you're in the Illuminati meeting. And all
You
of a
wanna
sudden you're
know?
like in a high school.
I'm at my alma mater. Let me tell you, Elliot,
Okay.
as long as I have Sally Mae calling me, I'm going to take full advantage of
Them
my
J.
old
Cole
college.
CDs don't stop the struggle, huh?
Exactly.
That's why I'm a college dropout, like Kanye West. And I got
Nah, you got
I got a bullshit associate's degree though. I got a 2-year degree. I can't say I'm a complete failure in college, but
Associates is something. Associate is a very fancy word. Throw a degree at
sounds
it.
better than it is. It's like 13th grade and shit. It wasn't much.
Don't
I'm
say
glad you
that.
joined the conversation. And I see your brother at the end. You were sipping tea, my brother. What's going on, my G? Is that CJ Fly?
Hold on, breaking up. Say that one more time, Elliot.
I thought you were sipping tea, CJ. Is that what you had some tea up in the cup, baby?
Nah, you know what, man?
The whole sips tea, man. That's how he keeps the larynx right, son. As an MC, you got to keep the shit right, man.
I like that. You know what I do? I mean, like I barely got sleep last night, so
I feel you, man. They had me up in Derby, man. I'm tired as hell too, man. That damn Steve Bartles, man.
That's some good problems to have, man.
Vince Valhalla, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, we in Miami, Florida. You know what I'm saying?
I met you. I kicked into your city with you, my G.
Of course. Definitely. And remember, when you get back in town, I gotta take you to Little Haiti.
All right.
Remember?
They said why I couldn't go to Little Haiti, man.
Nah, you good.
You know what I mean?
Nah, you good.
Right,
You good.
Let's stay focused, though. Let's talk about this Magna Carta, man. I want to get everybody's opinion. I'm going to go down the line. Like, obviously, it was a big cultural event, big business move, the Samsung deal, the good and the bad of that. So, taking aside the business part of it, just musically, did the record live up to the hype? Did that record live up to the tremendous business acumen? Did it live up to your expectations, if you had any? What are your overall thoughts of the album? I'm going to start with my man Ian.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say I was very shocked with the experience of this album in the sense that I went on, I listened to it. It was what you call in music a first listen to me. I immediately went on Facebook and went everywhere saying it was one of the best J albums ever, and I loved it, and I loved everything. And then I was shocked because I started reading the reviews, and there were some negative reviews coming in.
Yeah.
And I still do not agree with these reviews. Like, I don't know what people are hearing. The man is writing about where he's at in his life now. He can't keep rapping about the same things from 10 years ago or 20 years ago or beyond and expect it to still be valid. I mean, he's in the moment now, and that's what I thought was so powerful about it. And I did think some of the criticisms were unwarranted. He did open up about his life now as a family man. He did open up about his struggle internally, his struggle spiritually. And I just thought it was a great portrait of the artist, not as a young man, as they say, but the artist as a grown man with a kid and a family and looking at the midway point of life. So I really was very shocked and disgruntled at the negative reviews out there. I think he pushed it forward. I think it was palatable. I think whereas Yeezus is a different thing, it's not palatable to everybody. I think this is a record that's palatable to everybody, and I think it's something that everyone can find something in, and there's diversity in it, and the tracks are not all the same. They're not blending together. He's trying out different things. He's pushing it forward, but he's got stuff, too, that'll appeal to a mainstream audience.
Weird interludes.
Yeah.
I mean, you think it's just a thing that the world's not ready for, like, a 43-year-old rapper who's, like, really good?
Well, let's face it, there haven't been
and he's, like, ridiculously rich and successful and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's not a man and a rapper as much anymore as an empire. I mean, he is a full empire. So some of the criticisms have been that there is a lot of corporate sort of ideas in this and a lot of furthering of corporate. But the man is a corporation, and that is what he knows, and that is what he's surrounded by. He is on the level of a Facebook or a Google. He's a brand. You know, so like Google, like Pepsi, I mean, Jay-Z is synonymous with a brand at this point, and not just one brand, but many brands. And so, of course, that's going to be part of what he's talking about. But that is what you want to hear. I don't want to hear him constantly referring to the past. I want to hear
good old drug dealing days.
yeah, I mean, enough of that. And it wouldn't be real, and it wouldn't be valid. And he doesn't know that world anymore. He did know that world, but that's not where he's living now. And so I don't expect that.
Tracy, what were your thoughts on the album?
All right, let me start off by saying.
Yeah, that number is good.
I'm staring at Elliott.
The views expressed by Tracy do not necessarily reflect those.
Right. Have that scroll at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So, my only, I guess.
Wait, start with the positive. Why say my only?
All right, I'm gonna start with the positive. I do agree with Ian where art reflects life, and I love that. You know, Jay, he's sharing all these dualities that he has to step in and out of every day. It's like, okay, do I want to juggle the baby bottles, but I got to juggle the champagne bottles? Which one do I choose? And then, right. And then I also think, I remember reading a lot of the reviews, and people are like, oh, here we go. This feels like an extension of Watch the Throne, because there are some flashing moments. But to me, I feel like Jay is telling us, yo, I'm inspiring you to be at a relatable level with me. Maybe you can't relate on a pedestrian level, as you can see where I'm doing this conversation right now in my college. That might not be relatable to Jay, but I want to work to that place of being able to have those type of conversations that he's on. Now, here's the one little
now
step.
the negative.
Is I feel like...
This shit is trash, fam.
No, not at all. It's just that my expectations were just kind of played with when it came to the title, because it was so autobiographical. And the title, Magna Carta.Holy Grail, it sounds like the freaking sky is going to separate, the sun is going to come beaming down, there's going to be a strike of lightning, and God is going to send, and God is going to send these commandments down for Jay-Z to, you know, translate and pass off to the masses, especially when you had like the New Rules campaign that was going on Twitter. I just thought it was going to be more so in general, where should hip hop as a whole take it? And we see little bits and pieces of that, like in Tom Ford. It's kind of like a DOA, but towards Molly in a sense, you know what I mean? And you see little snippets of that and whatnot, but I felt like, I don't know, even if it was another Blueprint title, it would have just helped me see where he was going in advance, instead of just having these like grand, okay, the entire culture is about to be shifted. Here comes Jay-Z telling us, you know, what direction we're going to walk in, how things are going to change with the way we dress, with the way we think, blah, blah, blah. So that was my only thing of me understanding, you know, or just understanding everyone's thoughts of, okay, this didn't live up to the hype.
Okay, all right. Vince, what was your thoughts, Vince, on the Magna Carta.Holy Grail when you first heard it? Did you get that Samsung? What was your first experience?
Well, at first, I got the Samsung app, and I don't actually own an Android, but luckily I was.
You borrowed your friends?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was able to download the actual app a few days before, but I had trouble downloading at 12, and basically it took me probably until maybe I think 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. I actually was able to get into it. At first listen, what's crazy is that at first listen, Jay-Z's album, I honestly I came in with no expectations because I didn't want to be jaded fan or whatever the case may be. I think I came into it with a really open mind, and when I first heard it, I was like, man, okay, how many songs? I was kind of confused on how many songs I really liked, but it was one of those albums for me personally that I had to listen to. I had to really sit down with and just kind of really get the subject matter in. But overall, I feel like it's a great album. Jay-Z really at the end of the day, it's like I feel like I kind of grew up with his music. You know what I'm saying? I bought all of his albums physically, went to the store and bought them. So it's kind of different kind of experience. It's like
what do you think it ranks with? That's a big debate now. Like everybody, Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album don't seem to be the Holy Trinity. But is it a classic? Could it be looked at as one of his greatest?
I would say that it's definitely not his best work. It's not. It's among his best work.
Yeah, Vince Crosby speaking.
It's right in. It's right up on the upper
echelon
of his vocab. Yeah, on the upper.
It's on a little bit
of his. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it fits. It's not his greatest work, but it's definitely one of his best. And it's not an album like how should I? What was my worst?
Jay-Z album?
My worst Jay-Z album was.
No, it's got to be the second R. Kelly album.
All right.
Yeah. That has to be. Yeah, that definitely is. Yeah, you're right.
Hip Hop Obama. What was your thoughts on Holy Grail? You listen to a lot of rap, Obama.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of rap. Now, I kind of agree with Ian in the sense where when I first heard the tracks, I was impressed. Musically, it sounds rich. It sounds, grandiose and all those things. Like the music lives up to the name, Magna Carta.Holy Grail, because it's that big, it's that rich, it's in your face, and it's just, it is kind of that next step from Watch the Throne or whatever. But
tell him to be quiet, Tracy.
Shut up.
No, go ahead,
overall, I definitely think it's, this is his 12th album. I definitely think it's in the top half of of his canon. It's definitely not Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, or the Black Album, but he said it can fight for 4th in the interviews he's done. I think 4th is a little high. It could probably fight for either 5th or 6th, depending on, where you rate Volume 2 and American Gangster and all that kind of thing. But overall, I think it's a good album. No, he's not as maybe rapidy rap as some people wanted, and maybe the lyrics aren't as dense as people expected based on the album title or whatever, but the album definitely gives you a feeling. And I mean, like Ian said, he's talking about his life right now. I mean, he's 43, he's rich as all hell. He's married to Beyonce, he's got a kid. Like, he's just not thinking about, he's just in a different place. And so I think with the whole, progression of Jay-Z, maybe lyrically and musically, it wasn't like, okay, this is where hip-hop is going to go. But the moves and the whole, just the creativity and what he's trying to do with the music and being progressive in that way, I think it lived up to the hype. I mean, besides all that, I get the hype as Hove, but at the same time, he announced his album, 4 weeks ago? Like,
right.
It comes with a lot of expectations, but it wasn't like there was this huge building up. I saw a lot of reviews complaining about, the corporate thing and the Samsung and the overhype, but I'm like, it was 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know any other rapper that would heat it up that fast in 3 weeks and put the album out. I mean,
we all mad about these reviews, man. We mad. We mad about that.
I mean, the reviews are just unfair.
I should have them on the hangout, man. Where are these guys at, man?
Well, I was just hearing the same album. This is not the same album that I heard.
No, I saw one review where it was like trashing them, and I think sometimes good and bad. And I've talked to Jay about it. I feel like people get blinded by his celebrity.
Yeah.
It's good and bad. Like I feel like the RIA changed their rule to count the ship, to count the digital thing and change it. I think that it's because Jay-Z brought that to the table. Obviously, he's Jay-Z, so it forced him to deal with it. You know what I mean? And then it works against him also, where people can't judge him just solely musically. Like I even saw a lot of niggas use it'll say all this stuff about snarky stuff, and they'll say, well, it's a solid album, but but then
it's like, what are we talking about?
The headline's Hov is over, and then it's like a solid album.
Because you know what it is, though, Elliott. People be trolling for page views.
Yeah,
that's true.
The cool thing is to have a negative critique on something. So I mean,
Hov is over does rhyme.
Right. He even addresses it in one of the songs. I mean, he says 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. He's not even listening because he can count himself. He doesn't need someone else to count for him. That's a game changer right there. So I think he knows that.
You brought up a point of his overall statements maybe too much about his place in the game and not the overall game, I guess. And what I'm wondering now is that here's Jay-Z, who I feel he's the greatest of all time in this field. Entering a world where this year we celebrate a lot of new artists kind of taking big steps. J. Cole, Wale, like this idea of new legends. Kendrick's doing his victory lap still, and you have Drake kind of laying in wait, with his dominance he's had so far. So how does Jay now, because the competitor me and Jay is like, he wants to be still in that same conversation. So how do you differentiate that game? Can Jay-Z be the best right now and still be the greatest, or does Drake still having it? Does Drake have? Because a lot of people are saying it's Drake's moment still. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how do you balance the whole Jay versus Drake? What are your thoughts on that, Ian?
They're so different. I mean, you really can't put. It's kind of like the issue with the Grammys. They're always like, how do you judge all these different artists next to each other? It's the same way. They're so different. They both bring something completely different to the marketplace. But they're alike in that they're both very introspective, and that's what I think music is. There's two things. Like when I heard this record. When you know it, if it sounds good. I put the record on and it just sounded great. I wanted to listen to it.
It's simple.
That makes it good.
That's why Obama got the headphones.
Yeah. And you know what else I hate too?
And it's emotionally true. That's the second thing. And that's what Drake and Jay have in common. They're emotionally true. You can tell when it's some BS copying someone else. I mean, you listen to Drake and to Jay and you know it's them. You know it's their life. You know it's real. And it's something that's not intellectualized. You feel it.
But the Grammys are going to be interesting because it's going to be a lot of the heavyweights.
Yes.
Yeah.
The new generation and the established guard. What were you going to say, Tracy?
And it's crazy for Kendrick because he has to wait the longest.
One sec, Obama. Go ahead, Tracy.
Oh, thank you, Elliott.
I'm such a gentleman.
Two quick things. I was going to say, I hate going off of what Ian was saying. I see that now people are doing the comparison of Magna Carta.Holy Grail versus Jesus. And I feel like there's no way you can do that because it's just completely different sonic landscapes. Jesus purposely is polarizing. Kanye is all about putting an indentation and experimenting, and then for the second generation following to see what mistakes he made and then smoothing that out and creating their own rendition of what he did. And then I feel like with Jay, he just makes good music permanently. And it's just very much the hip-hop that we know, and an older person can like it, a younger person can like it. So I don't like Jesus and Magna Carta.Holy Grail.
In fairness, so I think that, obviously the first thing is they obviously compare because it's Watch the Throne, and they're also teasing that they may do another one, so it makes it real.
Well, you know what?
Narrative. But I also feel like if you hear the record sonically, though, I feel like again it's the new generation against the established guard. I feel like Kanye and Jay with Timbaland as his co-pilot, are trying to do different sounds for hip-hop, production-wise.
Right.
A lot more live-sounding stuff. And it sounds different than J. Cole's album, where J. Cole in a song like Crooked Smile may give you the feeling of Kanye back in College Dropout. Or Wale over a Just Blaze track, 88, and make you feel like the classic Rockefeller era of that. So it's like, I feel like sometimes, and I want to get you guys' opinion, do you feel like Jay and Kanye are going out of their way to make sure that their music doesn't sound like any of the new generation of artists like Kendrick or Wale or Cole? Like, are they too cognizant of it and trying to make it such a distinctive sound? It doesn't necessarily. It's a different sound for hip hop, and some of it's not the most, hourly, quick, radio friendly. This is the single, and then people are still gravitating towards that.
Well, that's how you can compare both albums, if I could just say.
Yeah.
Both albums are doing it without trying to have a radio hit. They don't even care about the radio hit.
Yeah.
They're showing they can still have a hit album without a radio hit. But it's also an example of both of them being influenced by their lives. Kanye's in Paris. He's going to fashion shows. He's in a different world, and he's being influenced by the people he's around now, and the art crowd that he's with, as is Jay. Jay, with the video he shot yesterday, he's with Marina Abramovich and Alan Cumming and all these people. I mean, he's trying to like have these influences and really break barriers. That's what breaking barriers is. It's taking things from his world and putting it with other worlds that he's known and been a part of and making something new out of it. And really pushing culture forward. So Kanye is right when he says that is what they're both doing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I think thematically is where you can really compare the two, because it is their responsibility to take a moment with their albums to separate art from entertainment, because they're not synonymous. Sometimes there's an intersection with it, but I think with Kanye, he really, especially, you know, with him being with Kim Kardashian, he wanted to separate the entertainment side and really put a focus on art. I think Jay did that. He literally made himself an exhibit at a museum to prove a point, you know what I mean? And I think it sets the bar really high for themselves because they've been in it so long. And I think it's crazy that when you look at someone like Jay-Z, and so many people will be like, wow, his success is like, who wouldn't want one slice of that? But he's so like,
just a slice.
Yeah, just a little itty bitty morsel. But he's so anti-complacency, you know? After I get $1 million, I'm looking for $1 billion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the competitiveness.
Right, it may sound arrogant to someone, but it's like, why not keep striving? Because it keeps.
But my thing is,
like,
but you know, it's funny because I feel like obviously I'm around the same age as him, and like, you know, I see some similarities. You know, career doing great things in the past and still want to prove you're great now.
Right.
What you do, it's like I wonder though, how does the new generation who maybe champion have their entry point with Kendrick? How can they really relate to a J record, or is it just if it's good beats and rhymes? They just love the music of it. Obama, what do you think about that? Like the new generation, like how can they relate to Jay's story? Like how does it affect them and their listening habits? Like if they're listening to Kendrick all day and Wale and Cole, where does Jay fit into their playlist and their rotation?
Well, they may not be able to immediately relate as far as, you know, their station in life at this particular time. If you're 20 or 21 or, you know, for the most part under 30, I mean, as it relates to, you know, Hove and as far as people younger than him. But I still think he's something that I still think they can relate to the feeling of wanting to do more. I mean, I think sometimes with music, I think he might have said this before in the interview, but it's like taking out of it what works for you. You know, okay, you don't own a Basquiat, you don't have a baby, you never driven a Lambo, but like she said, when
they might have some babies though.
They might have some babies. You're right about that. They might have the baby. They don't have a Lambo or the bad wife or the rap career.
They've been to a beach. They've been to a beach once or twice.
They've been to a beach once or twice. You know, maybe you saw a yacht on TV or something like that. But you still be able to take pieces of, like she said, that desire to want more, to want to do more, to want to be better. You can still take small pieces of that and make it work for you. I don't think that every word in every rap song is necessarily what you have to say, okay, well, I can't relate to this, so it means nothing to me. It's just about finding something that works for you and, you know, where you're at. And as long as it's the truth, then, I mean, people always recognize the truth for what it is. It doesn't really need an explanation.
Vince,
and I think that's
Vince.
I think that I think Jay and Kanye realized, like, you know, the listening habits of the younger generations changed from how it was before. So if you notice, obviously, Kanye didn't release a single. Jay's a single. He basically had commercials all the way up until the release. So you heard all the songs at once. Same thing with Kanye, and just same thing with Watch the Throne.
No leaks.
So it's like exactly. So it's like I think it's not really about the leaks.
We riding with him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you know, I think that they realize that the actual the listening habits has changed. So they're not trying to put out a single and then wait, you know, before, okay, what's the next single? They're trying to put out all of the music at one time. So it's like I think the
people choose with the singles, which a lot of things are big on iTunes. Ian, I wanted to go through some of the tracks. Let's go through the track list and Speaking of which, Holy Grail, you know, obviously that's like the big kind of like, I guess, most popish record with Justin on the hook and interpolating Nirvana, and like already that's getting a lot of spins. Like, do you think, what's your thoughts on that record, and do you think that that's like, because it's funny, like I think originally like on the track list it was almost listed as a bonus song, and now it's like boom, here's the big record right in your face, leading off the album.
Well, I think it was a perfect starting point. I actually think it was stronger than Justin sounded better almost than he did on his album. I actually like this song better than a lot of the. I mean, I'm very candid. I didn't love 2020 Experience. I love this.
Maybe you'll love the second one.
yeah, that I'm waiting. Maybe they'll take more than 20 days for that one. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I just thought this was really pushing it off, and it was really grabbing you right away. It's got that hook, and Justin sounds great on it, and like you were saying, it's like the Kurt Cobain thing, and it's again this meshing of the worlds coming in, and it's just, again, as I was saying before, it's one of those tracks that just sounds so good. You just put it on, and it was like, you're here, you're in the record. So this is one of my favorite tracks on the record.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see it live too, because they're about to go the Wireless Festival this weekend, and then the tour kicks off shortly after. So I'm sure we'll see some dramatic YouTubes of the first performance of Holy Grail. No, but I thought Justin definitely sounds way different on a lot of these songs. Like, you know, compared to the other one that he sings Zook on. Tracy, what did you think of Holy Grail?
Oh, I thought that was perfect. That set the tone for the entire album. I already knew what Jay-Z was going to be thinking throughout the rest of the album, because, again, it's like this duality. I have an addiction. I love fame. I know what it is fueled by, but then I know how it becomes dwarfed by real-life problems that, you know, you and I and everyone else has. And then we look at Jay-Z with his paparazzi problems, and it's like, come on, man. And then I think also it just sounds very regal. Like, instrumentally, it sounds like, okay, listen, you should feel honored that I'm going to give you a peek into my type of problems. You know what I mean? Which we rarely see, and I think it's also put in a way where I feel bad for a second. And in this day and age, when we have so much access to celebrities, and we just see them self-ethering themselves every day on Twitter, right? And you're like, come on, dude, you should know better than that. I think for Jay, I have a lot of empathy for him. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing that he was able to truly accomplish, because it's hard to feel sorry for someone who is ridiculously rich. And who's just like, makes my self-esteem crumble with just like one step. You know what I mean? Changing a Blue Ivy's baby diaper is more important an event than like any story that I could do. But yeah, no, I feel like it really set the tone well. Like, I knew what I was about to jump into with the rest of the album.
All right, so good intro. You know, Jay's known for the intro. So then Picasso, baby, that's my favorite on the album. Yeah. And I was at the. You agree? In that's the one. That's the headbanger.
Well, that's the first single, right? So I think he chose a good one. That track is actually getting a lot of slack. This is one of those where, you know, him comparing himself to Basquiat and everything. I mean, again, the thing about this record, I guess this is what I could say overall, and particularly this track is a good indicator. It's aspirational. It's not telling you, you know, look at me, I'm so great. It's, look, you can aspire to this. You know, this is something that everyone can aspire to. It's a confidence booster for people, you know, to listen to music like this. And, you know, he's introducing the art world into, now Kanye's done this, but he's really bringing that in. I mean, there are a lot of kids that are going to listen to this. You know, we're trying to think of young people that they don't know Basquiat, but they're going to go look him up now, and they're going to maybe hope to one day own a Basquiat. So this is, you see what I mean? It's
or a Taylor Swift plaque behind it.
Or a Taylor Swift plaque. Hey, Taylor Swift probably has a few Basquiats by now. But anyway, it's not just about art. Of course, he uses this to go after Fox News, and, you know, there's some other things in this track, but it's also extremely catchy. So, and I think there's
extremely catchy. The next song, I hate. Yeah. I was scared when I saw the title, Tom Ford and all that.
They better give him some
Jay,
free
like,
shoes
this is like, goddamn you, this is like so irresistibly catchy. It's Tom Ford shit. I don't want to like it, and then I just find myself, you know, singing the hook and Tom Ford in the shower. It's just too much, man. I'm tired of Tom Ford, man. Is it a guilty pleasure to anybody else?
No, not at all. You know what Tom Ford is?
You know what?
It's Wonder Girl, you're here.
Oh, another one.
Hi, Wonder Girl.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey.
Hey.
Congratulations, Crown. You're on the album.
Yeah. Thank you.
How crazy is that? That's a J invitation. So how many people are begging you for beats now, Wonder Girl? How crazy is it?
A lot.
Do you have a beat for the Crown? We need a new theme song. I need a new, because Jay took that one. I need a theme song. I need a new beat. Can you help me?
Okay.
She's so humble, Elliott.
So humble. I know. So how did you just get on this damn Jay-Z album? How does it happen? I know you told everybody you're tired of telling the story, but tell me.
I sent a beat to Travis Scott, and Travis Scott was in the studio with Jay-Z at the time.
Okay. There you go. Connections. I like that. So is phone's been ringing off the hook since?
Not really. Just a lot of interviews and stuff.
Do you like the spotlight? You like doing these interviews? No? Keep it down? Just put the hoodie on and go make some beats in the corner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need more female producers.
I was just gonna say that.
We do.
Right?
We do.
Right?
We definitely.
What inspired you to get into production?
Just like, I was watching a video of Timbaland and Jay-Z in the studio. I forgot which video it was, but you know the video with when Timbo was like fat and he had like the juice jug.
When Timbo was fat. Come on.
Oh no, he did what he did in the Black album. He did
Black album, yeah, that had to be the Black album.
Yeah.
And he played like that ludicrous beat that Jay didn't want, potion or whatever. He was like, I'm gonna do that, but I'm not gonna be fat, and I'm gonna make some good beats. All right, but going back, I was talking about, but Wonder Girl came out. I was talking about how Tom Ford is my guilty pleasure. I don't own any Tom Ford yet, and I don't want to like a song called Tom Ford, but I do like it. Does anybody else feel it's a guilty pleasure, the Tom Ford song?
Nah,
it's not even a guilty pleasure. I just like it.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch, you two-stepping to that in the club, baby?
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It sounds great in the car, man. It sounds amazing in the car.
Man, speaking of your neck of the woods, Miami, Florida, man, fuck with me. I got it. The big rap feature, Ricky Rose. Were you shocked?
You know what was crazy is that I went on Twitter and I actually heard it. I was in a strip club last night and I actually heard it. Miami's a strip club town, so you already know. But anyway, so I heard it in the strip club, and it's just like Jay, like that's the best record Jay has with Ross. That has to be the best record.
Really, off Freemason and everything.
I think it beats Freemason. It's just the vibe. Like the vibe that I get is like it's not serious. It's just it's definitely like a different vibe than Freemason. Freemason is an amazing record, but it's just I don't know, man. This is my favorite Ross and the Jay collaboration.
I got it. All right. Anybody else got something to say about that? I got it. It's a long ass title, man. That title's too long.
But I like it all together.
Yeah.
I think Wonder Girl, what song do you like that you didn't produce on the album? What's your favorite that you're not involved with?
Heaven and that one song that you guys were talking about just now. I don't swear.
Oh, no. F with me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
CJ Fly, is that you? You in the check-in? Can you hear me? I think CJ Fly trying to check in from Pro Era. Get him on there. What do we look? Oceans with Frank Ocean. Ironically. That was a song I think Jay had in the stash when he had those photos of like him and Frank Ocean together. That has the hotline Tracy, the I don't want to dirt. I always misquote it. The dirt on my tuxedo line. It's a very strong line.
I hope my black skin don't dirt this white tuxedo.
Yeah, I hope my black skin don't dirt this white tuxedo. I thought that was very powerful. What are some of your thoughts on Oceans? Who wants to take that? Who likes Oceans?
Oceans made me feel. Oceans made me feel like it made me feel like a Viking and like the Black James Bond at the same time. Like if I could have a horned helmet and a Tom Ford suit, like that's what Oceans make me feel like. It's almost like Hov went Pirates of the Caribbean on us or something. Like he's the skinny ninja from the boat is now on a pirate ship. Now he's out there marauding. That joint is crazy. Like it just takes you somewhere. And Frank has that weird ass hook, but that weird ass hook works. Like Elephant elephant tusk on the bow of a sailor. Like, that's crazy. But it feels right, though. It just feels right, man.
Nah, I agree.
Smart one to go. He's like, tons of fuck it. That's just funny. And then fuck up the world. You can't even pronounce this one, Wonder Girl. FUTW. We gotta keep it clear. FUTW.
Elliott,
Yes.
I was gonna say I feel like Tom Ford and Fuck With Me, You Know I Got It are like the candy before the medicine. Because
Okay,
right
gotta set you up for
those
oceans, right?
Yeah, that's when we really start getting deep. And a lot of people, when it comes to who's the GOAT, and it's always been Nas and Jay-Z at the front of that conversation. And usually when people will complain about Jay-Z, they say,
people talking, man. Tell them to pipe down. So what's the extra noise?
huh, with me?
Oh, that's behind you? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, can you hear me though?
Yeah.
I could talk louder and obnoxiously. It's okay. But I was gonna say, I think a lot of
Tell them to shut up behind you. Tell them shut up.
Oh, that's the printer.
Okay, all right.
Let me move from here.
I don't think it's you. That's not you though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's probably me.
Okay.
You guys be quiet.
All right, thank you.
Think so? Okay.
Damn you, Wonder Girl.
Wait, but you guys heard my thing about how Tom Ford and Fuck With Me, You Know I Got It, or like the can't. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Now, I think a lot of people who look to critique Jay-Z overall and what his influence has been on the culture is like, where's the social commentary? You know what I mean? You have this platform. You're one of the most ubiquitous rap stars. You look like, the community. So use it to really infiltrate and change people's conditionings and blah, blah, blah. And I think this is where we started to see it because we have a lot of our history that's implemented in really interesting ways. But it's not too dense where you're like, come on, old man, can you throw the textbook to the side and stop giving me all these little bits and pieces? It's still relatable to our life, but then it makes you, I don't know, a lot of kids aren't going to school anymore because you can, and not that there's a bad thing if you know what you want to do, but I think the great thing about going to school is you just get to learn about stuff. You're not necessarily going to find out through everyday conversation, right? And I feel like with a song like this, if you're listening to music, especially with the power of repetition, Jay's going to have you go and Google something. That's one thing I feel like where he's really using his influence in great ways, and I feel like this is the album where I truly see it, and I know when we get down to heaven, I'll be talking even more about it.
And wait,
but it started it up.
Well, somewhere in America, I think it speaks to that too. Also, and then,
True.
Also then his sense of humor at the end with the Miley Cyrus reference.
Yeah.
Did that make you laugh the first time you heard it?
Hell yeah.
No, Ian, I was asking you.
Oh, well, of course, Miley, of course.
That's
I mean,
that's your lane, baby. Us Weekly.
Yeah, that's our girl right here. That's our flagship. Yeah, I mean, look, it's Jay again being poignant and being in touch with what people are talking about now. I mean, it's something in the culture, but he mixes so many things, and that's what I think is the great thing about this record is that he can take things that are a little absurd and then bring it back to something more serious. That's where some of the criticism has come in. But I think that's unwarranted. I think that's what our world is. So 1 minute you're talking about Miley Cyrus, and the next minute you're talking about racism or poverty. I mean, that's how people are. You're not always on one bent all the time. No one's one note, and this is not a one-note album.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think we're up to Crown, Wonder Girl. One thing, I remember when Kanye was saying when he sold his beat to Jay, he's like spit some rhyme. He was like, I wanted the introspective Jay on there. Like, what did you think of Jay lyrics on your song when you first heard the way he approached your track? What did you think of it?
It was really cocky. but I guess he has the right.
A sample that said Crown in it.
Yeah,
right.
Crown. You set him up. You gave me assist.
I didn't know it was gonna go to Jay.
Yeah, but dope beat, by the way.
Thank you.
Dope beat.
You like that Crown, Vince? That's your theme song? You doing
calisthenics
in the morning to that? You good?
You know what? I found out about Wonder Girl producing on the album, and I was trying to figure out what song it was. It's just like, it's definitely right up there as far as quality-wise with all of these records. So it's like, it says a lot for somebody that, is 16 years old, to be. I definitely would love to see more female producers in the game. So it's definitely refreshing to see when I heard it.
Okay, Tracy, talk about heaven. You said you wanted to tackle heaven. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe that Jay would dedicate an entire song to questioning religion, question everything. And it sounds like something, because at first when Yeezus came out, and then I knew what lane that Kanye was going to go in, and it was completely different from commercialism. Kanye didn't want anyone even listening to the album. I don't even think there was going to be a listening session, and he's anti-corporation. Then when Jay came out with this, the first announcement for this album was 1 million is already going to be sold via Samsung. So I thought it was going to be much more commercial hip-hop to just have, like, you know, the difference from Yeezy. But I feel like Kanye could have came onto this record as well. Like, it's very introspective. It's just questioning everything. We don't see, there's like religious themes throughout hip hop, but it's more so like comparing yourself to a god.
Wow, you're making me dizzy, man. Stay still.
I know. I'm losing track,
my fault.
I feel like I'm on a boat and back to oceans.
Oceans, yeah, my bad. My computer's dying.
Oh, all good. But no, I think it's really powerful for a rapper to just talk about religion. It's not something that you would expect a man with Jay's color, with just the way he carries himself, with the lifestyle he holds, with the people who are around him, to have a thorough and long conversation about and dedicate an entire song to. So I feel like
I think a lot of it, you know, him and Kanye, even Watch the Throne, like him and Kanye, a lot of talk, like I think with the success, I think the reaction to that in a lot of ways is like, you know, delving into mortality, you know what I mean? And really like their growth, their success, you know, and you know, the tragedy, like even, I think it speaks to, you know, Biggie and Pac's influence, and then Kurt Cobain reference and the thing, and like your legacy, you know what I mean? And that vulnerability.
Definitely.
Like, how the
well, they've seen life from both sides, too. Like,
Yeah.
they've been on the high and the low. Of
Yeah.
course you're going to be questioning things. You know, you've seen the most horrible poverty and the most horrible death and murder and just horrible things. And then you've
what's going on in Chicago right now, you know, where Kanye's from.
Yeah, the greatest successes. So I think this was one of my favorite tracks, not only on the album, but one of my favorite Jay tracks, because
cracks that Jay-Z top 25 or something? What's up there?
well, it's so rich, and you read so much you hear so many different levels, and I think people expect everyone just to be one thing, one religion. You got to pick one, you know. You got to have one train of thought. But I don't think I personally don't think that that's what religion is supposed to be, and it's interesting to hear that Jay doesn't either. That it's not all one level, and he actually addresses. I love how on the record he finally addressed.
Uh-oh.
Ian left us hanging, a cliffhanger.
Ian better hurry up.
Addresses.
I'm going to grab his mic if you don't figure it out.
Come on, Ian, come back. You there?
It keeps cutting off, I'm telling you.
He said he finally addresses what?
The Illuminati stuff and all that stuff. I mean, all of those rumors he dispels on the record, which I think is interesting because it's not something.
Oh, he's lying. He's in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
You know what else too?
All the crazy.
He told me to remind you that he's still in the Illuminati.
Okay, good.
That was one of the illest lines on the album too.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
one, Mama?
The question of religion, question it all.
Yeah.
What is it? Y'all dwell on devil shit. I've been to Diablo.
Yeah.
The whole bars right there was just crazy. I was like, damn, he still got it.
And you know what else too?
Verses and some of the interludes, like there's people are mad that Beach is Better is too short. I hear like all these interludes. Like, what did you make of like the smaller songs, and how do you think they fit into the overall landscape of the album? Tracy, I
like it. I love verses. That was one of the things where I was like, no, come on, yo. But I think it's experimenting a bit because, one, there'll probably be like the younger generation may think that this album's a bit too long. So I think that having the shorter kind of interlude things breaks it up a bit. But it definitely leaves me longing for more. And I don't know if it's because I just want I can't deal with like delayed gratification, because I wouldn't be surprised if Jay came with maybe a longer version sometime later. But I think overall it's just experimenting, just a different way to play around with all, you know, the track listing and whatnot. I didn't think too much about it. I just was like, I want some more, son.
Wonder Girl, as a producer, what do you make of like some of these smaller arranged songs mixed in the overall body of the work?
Verses, like I think Verses was perfect because like that beat, if it went on for a long time, it would get a little boring. I think so. But Beach is Better should have been longer though.
Sequencing wise, I'm trying to figure out why Jay actually did like 2 interludes in between part 2. That's what I'm trying to figure. Like if I could ask him one question, I would ask him why he put
versus part 2, yeah,
and then part 2, and then Beach is Better, which is another interlude. So it was kind of like I've never seen him do that on an album. I wonder what was one of the reasons why it was sandwiched in between both of those Beach is Better and so forth. Not Beach is Better, but part 2.
Yeah.
Ian, I think.
Well, I thought that was interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I said, what did you think of part 2, the big collaboration with Beyonce?
Well, I actually was going to just say about what he just said. I think it was nice to frame that song. You could tell in a way it was a special track for him.
Yeah.
And it was a way to sort of set it up and then take you away from it. You kind of rolled into it, you had that moment, and then you came back. So I really liked having it between those 2 interludes like that. I think that it's sort of part 2 alluding to their first song together so many years ago when they met with Bonnie and Clyde. It was sort of like here they are in a little bit more of a mature place. This was a mature, soulful woman singing. This isn't some young girl singing a Prince hook, like the last time, which was great. But this is sort of like a more, you're seeing that same couple, but in a more mature light as they are now. And I thought it was so like lush, and I think it was one of their best collaborations. It was just like really beautiful, and it really added a real soulful kind of moment in the album where you can kind of come down and just feel it. Yeah.
Tracy, I see you nodding.
Yeah, because I was gonna say also, I think it was a little humanizing as well, because when you listen to the hook and it's like, okay, this isn't a perfect love story or whatever, and when we look at Jay and Beyonce, it's like this is the quintessential couple, not only within hip-hop, but just in pop culture in general. And even though I know some people were thinking that Beyonce had cheated on Jay from the lyrics on one of the records, and he had to deal with that, blah, 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 that's where I feel like art comes into play, and you're just telling a story. But it's just a reminder that they are human beings that are just in love, that have a baby. These are all things that we're capable of doing as listeners. So not necessarily put them on a plateau, but like Ian was saying, it's nice to see the maturity in the sound and the content. Yeah.
Obama, what do you think of BBC? Sound like a party, man. Were you surprised to hear your man Nas rapping like that?
Yeah. This is the part. This is the thing that it took me a minute to figure out BBC. That was one of the songs where you play the album down or whatever, and it was one of those songs where when I initially heard it, I didn't hate it. I just didn't know what to make of it or what to do with it. Then part of that is my fault because I listened to it on not even good headphones. I listened to it just on some regular iPod joints, and I was like, all right. But in a car, like you could really tell when it's big and it's loud, it's definitely a party, and it's like. Visually, I know Hov talked about the video and the footage being crazy. It just sounds like a good time, and it's like I like the fact that he put Nas on it. I read some reviews that were like, oh, why didn't he put him on Heaven or put him on one of those other things? And it's like I think that's to be expected to have Nas and Jay on some deep, meaningful song with all type of lyrical, miracle, spiritual bars about whatever. But it's like you don't see like most of. I mean, let's keep it real. Most Nas party jams, he doesn't really have a lot of good party jam records. Like outside of maybe Made You Look. So it's like I thought it was a good chance for Nas to have some fun. It's not so serious. They're talking that Fly Don. I mean, he even went so far as shouting out Pharrell's features. Like that's a different. He had fake Autumn Pharrell. Keep the features. Like that's not something irregularly. So I like the switch up. I think BBC is a good time. I think it's gonna do well in the club.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a party.
It sounds like a great time.
Yeah. What'd you say, Vince?
No, I was saying it sounds like a party. It actually, if you kind of really listen to it. It sounds like it's just people, it's like a crowd of people, like they're rapping in a studio with a crowd of people. It has that feeling, like it has that feeling. It gives me that feeling.
Drunk off Duce.
It's like, it sounds like they were drinking and they just let anybody in the booth.
That damn Duce, that Duce's the devil, man.
Except they wouldn't let Nas say it.
Yeah. He got the Hennessy deal. We got to be careful, Ian, out here.
They bleeped it out.
Everybody's serious.
That's hilarious.
I knew he had a deal that conflicted with that line.
It's funny because everybody was mad that Kanye didn't make any song about soon to be a father to his child. You kind of felt like Jay-Z made a record about his daughter called Glory. Were you guys surprised with Jay-Z Blue that he tackled the subject head on again, but in a different kind of way, like down to the samples from Mommy Dearest?
Yeah.
What did you make of Jay-Z Blue when you first heard it?
Loved it. I mean, I felt like who else mixes Biggie samples with Mommy Dearest? I mean, I thought that was so totally inventive, the beat. But also, we're seeing the themes of heaven again, where it's a man wrestling. It's not black and white. This is a man wrestling with the many levels of what's going on in his mind. But this time, you're getting the family sense of it, and how his fears of being the same father that his father was, and not repeating the same patterns, and giving his daughter a life, and then balancing simply being a father with this very extravagant lifestyle, which is not something a lot of people have to deal with, but there are problems with that, that he brings that up, and just how he's losing sleep at night, and they say when you become a parent, you never stop worrying about that child. Well, this is a song where you hear his worries played out, and all of his worries, and this is something a lot of first-time fathers are all thinking, and so this is one of those tracks that you really can relate to. It's not about corporate sponsorships. This is one of those tracks that really will touch any father.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I think it definitely showed Jay-Z as immortal. You know what I mean? And I think what I love about the record, immediately we have the double entendre of Blue being the name of his first child and daughter, but then Blue also being a reflection of feeling sad, you know what I mean, or scared, just having any type of dark emotion and finding the balance of it. Because I mean, from the outside, whenever you hear, especially if people are married and they're having a baby, the immediate sense is joy and, oh my gosh, you guys must love every single second of it. But nah. There's a handful of seconds where you're like questioning yourself, questioning your capabilities on the paternal side of things, questioning if you even want to be a father at all, you know what I mean? Questioning how you're going to affect a woman as a man down the line. And I think a lot of times in hip-hop, I mean, now it's more so different because we're cool with seeing the emo side, but it's still very touching to see a grown man, a 43-year-old, show his vulnerability. You know what I mean? Throughout an entire song, especially now this is towards the second half of the album. That's when I'm seeing the Magna Carta part come through because, back in England, right, this was something to limit the power of the king. And something like this is showing how even Jay-Z, who has it all, someone so tiny that is a baby is taking away Jay's power, is limiting him, is having him come down to ground. It's like, you know what? I know you sleep in this lavish kingdom or whatever, but Daddy, you're going to have to come to my cradle and change my diapers. That's how we're going to humble you for a bit.
Somebody from the squad has got to do it.
Right. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Anybody got kids? Obama, Vince, you got kids? You guys got kids?
No kids, man. Not yet.
Yeah, I don't have any kids. I'm trying to hold out a little while longer, bro. A little while longer.
Just a little while.
Did Jay-Z Blue scare you a little bit?
It actually.
No, I mean, I think it's cool.
Now go ahead.
Oh, I think it's cool that he's talking about that. I like the concept. I like what it stands for. I just don't like the record itself. Like, that's one of the songs where I'm all for. Like, I want him to talk like that. I'm all for him, going into that because people need to see that. I mean, like you said, it's real to his life now. But I just didn't think the execution really came off all that great. I like the contrast of the Mommy Dearest and everybody loved. I think hearing Biggie's voice and Hove together like that was in itself might be the price of admission. But I just didn't like the track. I just didn't.
On your shirt.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love to hear Big again, but I
heard some criticism of the next song, La Familia, too. Like, some people felt like that should have been an interlude. And but then everybody says when he did the one on Twitter with the facts only, everybody started saying facts only. So that caught on. But that seemed like one of the lesser-liked tracks on the album, right, Ian?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a throwaway. And Nickels and Dimes is going back to Ocean's territory again, the last song. And, it was good, but I felt like we were just revisiting Ocean's ground a little bit. So
I had to actually
I feel like I'm the only one who likes Nickels and Dimes.
I like it.
I actually like Nickels and Dimes. Dope.
I think he talks about a lot of the things that he got from Lior, about to wrap up soon, with about his belief that of giving anonymously and stuff like that. His theory on certain things. Go ahead, Vince. Nickels and Dimes. What was your thoughts on it?
No, actually, I actually really liked it. I really liked it. It was a really deep record. Going back to La Familia really quick, I just felt like La Familia was recorded the same time Somewhere in America was recorded. Like, it just felt like it was around the same time, and it felt like an outro to me, to the album. I mean, that's just to me, but.
Okay, let's break it down. So why don't we do that when we break it down if we get out of here? Vince, give me the best song on the album and the worst song on the album.
Worst song on the album, La Familia. The best song on the album is Fuck With Me, You Know I Got It.
Tracy, what do you think?
Oof, okay, I'm with those, but I'm still different with my two. Okay, the best are Tom Ford.
Just one. We pick one. Somebody gets the.
I don't want to be a girl and say Tom Ford. All right.
I will come back to you. Wonder Girl, what's the best song? And don't say Crown. And what's the worst song? Excluding Crown, because we know nothing can touch Crown. So.
The worst song is La Familia to me, and the best song, I don't know. I really like Heaven.
Okay. Obama? Mr. Obama?
I'm with her. Yeah, I'm with her. La Familia is the worst, and Heaven is easily the best.
Easily the best.
Easily the best.
Okay, Tracy, you ready before I go to Ian? I'm saying even.
All right.
Go ahead,
Since everyone took my tracks, I'm going to say what people don't want to say. Tom Ford is the best track.
Woo!
Whatever.
Papa Molly to that.
Yeah, I know. I'm a typical girl with that. And then.
You can't sweat out your Tom Ford suit with Molly's, man.
I'm going to say Nickels and Dimes was the worst track. I just don't like the way it ended. I actually added to my iPhone, I added a 17th track, and I titled it Tom Ford ... again.
Yeah.
I needed it to end on a higher note.
Get your open letter on there. What about open letter? You could have put it on there. That's a bonus, I think.
That's a different conversation, Elliott.
You're not a fan of the open letter?
You know what? Jay knows he's not a fan of that either, like crazy. I mean, open letter, it was cool. It addressed a lot of stuff that was happening right in the moment, which I'm always a fan of because it was super timely, but it's just not something.
So right decision.
I don't know, the replay.
Right decision to not put it on the album.
Yeah, completely.
All right, Ian, give me your best and worst, Ian.
All right, I'm going to go off the wall here a little bit, but I'm going to go with Jay-Z Blue for best track because you get the introspective lyrics that are very meaty. You're learning a lot from it and a lot of different sides of him. He's questioning, he's pondering, but also the production, I think, was incredible. I love the way it was produced. I love the sounds. I love the samples. It makes you stop and go, what was that? Like, I've had it on in my apartment as different people have come over, and they've all been like, what is this? You know, like the minute that song comes on, it stops everybody dead in their tracks. And for the worst, I'll stick with La Familia, too. I just feel like we didn't need it.
Yeah. Welcome home to Emory, though.
But there's a lot. It's a very hard decision.
Oh.
I think we're out of here, though. We out of here? Magna Carta.Holy Grail. The Holy Talk is over.
The Holy Talk.
Holy Talk.
Holy Everybody have fun? Everybody have fun?
Yeah, I did.
Late. We still love you. It's all good. Shout out to Wonder Girl. I want to thank Wonder Girl. I want to thank Ian. I want to thank Hip Hop Obama. I want to thank Tracy. I want to thank Vince. Valhalla. I can see, but see the hat says Valhalla.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, baby. When you in Miami, man. Thank the good folks at Life of Times. It's digital. It's the Truth Live, man. I don't know when we're doing it again. When we doing it again? Figure it out. Maybe every other Thursday. But thank you guys for checking in and doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All day.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
Later, guys.
All right. Bye.
That's some good problems to have, man.
Vince Valhalla, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, we in Miami, Florida. You know what I'm saying?
I met you. I kicked into your city with you, my G.
Of course. Definitely. And remember, when you get back in town, I gotta take you to Little Haiti.
All right.
Remember?
They said why I couldn't go to Little Haiti, man.
Nah, you good.
You know what I mean?
Nah, you good.
Right,
you good.
Let's stay focused, though. Let's talk about this Magna Carta, man. I want to get everybody's opinion. I'm going to go down the line. Like, obviously, you know, it was a big cultural event, big business move, the Samsung deal, the good and the bad of that. So, you know, taking aside the business part of it, just musically, did the record live up to the hype? Did that record live up to the tremendous business acumen? Did it live up to your expectations, if you had any? What are your overall thoughts of the album? I'm going to start with my man Ian.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say I was very shocked with the experience of this album in the sense that I went on, I listened to it. It was what you call in music a first listen to me. I immediately went on Facebook and went everywhere saying it was one of the best J albums ever, and I loved it, and I loved everything. And then I was shocked because I started reading the reviews, and there were some negative reviews coming in, and I still do not agree with these reviews. Like, I don't know what people are hearing. The man is writing about where he's at in his life now. He can't keep rapping about the same things from 10 years ago or 20 years ago or beyond and expect it to still be valid. I mean, he's in the moment now, and that's what I thought was so powerful about it. And I did think some of the criticisms were unwarranted. He did open up.
Hip Hop Obama, what's up? You back, baby? The fight is fixed.
Yeah.
What happened?
I put in my up, down, down, left, right cheat code. Start off with 30 million.
I don't even got you on the list, man. What's going on? You tricked me.
I snuck in the back door.
Wonder Girl said, I can't do it. Hip Hop Obama's up in here.
Oh, man.
What's going on, bro? How you?
Yo, did I knock somebody out? Oh, no. Let's come back in. I'm good, man. I'm glad you joined us, man. We're going to talk that Magna Carta.Holy Grail. And I see my homegirl Tracy's here, right?
Yay! Yes, I am the Soul Ranger of
Tracy,
Team Estrogen
where are you at
now.
right now? You seem like you're in the Illuminati meeting. And all
You
of a
wanna
sudden you're
know?
like in a high school.
I'm at my
stage.
alma mater. Let me tell you, Elliot,
Okay.
as long as I have Sally Mae calling me, I'm going to take full advantage of
Them
my
J.
old
Cole
college.
CDs don't stop the struggle, huh?
Exactly.
That's why I said. That's why I'm a college dropout, like Kanye West. And I
Nah, you got
I got a bullshit associate's degree though. I got a 2-year degree. I can't say I'm a complete failure in college, but
Associates is something. Associate is a very fancy word. Throw a degree at
sounds
it.
better than it is. It's like 13th grade and shit. It wasn't much.
Don't
I'm
say
glad you
that.
joined the conversation. And I see your brother at the end. You was sipping tea, my brother. What's going on, my G? Is that CJ Fly?
Hold on, breaking up. Say that one more time, Elliot.
I thought you were sipping tea, CJ. Is that what you had some tea up in the cup, baby?
Nah, you know what, man?
The whole sips tea, man. That's how he keeps the larynx right, son. As an MC, you got to keep your shit right, man. I like that.
You know what I do? I mean, like I barely got sleep last night, so I'm
I feel you,
sipping
man.
on
They had me up
coffee,
in Derby, man. I'm tired as hell too, man. That damn Steve Bartles, man.
Up about his life now as a family man. He did open up about his struggle internally, his struggle spiritually. And I just thought it was a great portrait of the artist, not as a young man, as they say, but the artist as a grown man with a kid and a family and looking at the midway point of life. So I really was very shocked and disgruntled at the negative reviews out there. I think he pushed it forward. I think it was palatable. I think whereas Yeezus is a different thing, it's not palatable to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a record that's palatable to everybody, and I think it's something that everyone can find something in, and there's diversity in it, and the tracks are not all the same. They're not blending together. He's trying out different things. He's pushing it forward, but he's got stuff, too, that'll appeal to a mainstream audience. Yeah.
Weird interludes.
Yeah.
I mean, you think it's just a thing that the world's not ready for, like, a 43-year-old rapper who's, like, really good?
Well, let's face it, there haven't been
and he's,
any.
like, ridiculously rich and successful and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's not a man and a rapper as much anymore as an empire. I mean, he is a full empire. So some of the criticisms have been that there is a lot of corporate sort of ideas in this and a lot of furthering of corporate. But the man is a corporation, and that is what he knows, and that is what he's surrounded by. He is on the level of a Facebook or a Google. He's a brand. You know, so like Google, like Pepsi, I mean, Jay-Z is synonymous with the brand at this point, and not just one brand, but many brands. And so, of course, that's going to be part of what he's talking about. But that is what you want to hear. I don't want to hear him constantly referring to the past. I want to hear
good old drug dealing days.
yeah, I mean, enough of that. And it wouldn't be real, and it wouldn't be valid. And he doesn't know that world anymore. He did know that world, but that's not where he's living now. And so I don't expect that.
Tracy, what were your thoughts on the album?
All right. Let me start off by
Yeah, that never is good.
I'm staring at Elliot.
The views expressed by Tracy do not necessarily reflect those.
Right. Have that scroll at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So, my only, I guess.
Wait, start with the positive. Why say my only?
All right, I'm gonna start with the positive. I do agree with Ian where art reflects life, and I love that you know, Jay, he's sharing all these dualities that he has to step in and out of every day. It's like, okay, do I want to juggle the baby bottles, but I got to juggle the champagne bottles? Which one do I choose? And then, right. And then I also think, I remember reading a lot of the reviews, and people were like, oh, here we go. This feels like an extension of Watch the Throne, because there are some flashy moments. But to me, I feel like Jay is telling us, yo, I'm inspiring you to be at a relatable level with me. Maybe you can't relate on a pedestrian level, as you can see where I'm doing this conversation right now in my college. That might not be relatable to Jay, but I want to work to that place of being able to have those type of conversations that he's on. Now, here's the one little
now the negative.
is I feel like
this shit is trash, fam.
No, not at all. It's just that my expectations were just kind of played with when it came to the title, because it was so autobiographical. And the title, Magna Carta.Holy Grail, it sounds like the freaking sky is gonna separate the.
Hey, I don't see myself in the top one. That's fine. Okay. Hey, live. Hey, it's Elliott Wilson from Rap Radar. It's the Truth Live. We did it again, man. Look at this. Look at this backdrop, man. I came in and made me feel special, man. Made me feel like Cassius Clay today, man. I went to Best Buy because you get nothing free when you're friends with Jay-Z, and I bought the Jay-Z album. Okay.
I caught that.
I just ripped the packaging off my CD, as you can see. Because today I have an esteemed new panel. We're going to talk about Magna Carta.Holy Grail. We're going to be honest on his channel. You can say what you don't like. You can say what you do like. Let me get the lyric sheet, because we're gonna give overall feelings, and then we're also gonna go track by track too. Everybody's down for that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me introduce my esteemed colleagues. I had a little pre-talk with my man right here, Ian Drew, man. He's from Us Weekly. What's up, Ian?
Not much. What's up?
I was making fun of he has a big Taylor Swift, as you can see, Taylor Swift portrait behind him. It's very scary. I said,
it's a perfect day.
Jesus.
It's a perfect day. I think Jay would appreciate it. He could scare her off the wall.
I'm saying.
Make her uncomfortable.
I see why, Us Weekly's doing so well, man. When you have true inspiration like that behind you.
Yeah. Well, Taylor gives us plenty of inspiration.
God bless Taylor.
Every week.
Okay, and the brother next to you, who's that? We got a red, white, and blue shirt on? What's that? I can't see. Yeah, oh, Biggie. Oh, excuse me. BK. So we have Taylor Swift in the back. We got Biggie on the chest. What's your name, brother?
Yeah. This is Hip Hop Obama.